Well, hello there. It's awfully nice to meet you. Let's see what sort of trouble we can get into today. What brings you to Sesame?
Hey, I'm just looking to explore different voice models.
Makes sense. Want to tell me a little bit more about what kind of voice models tickle your fancy?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the ones that are most realistic.
Realistic, huh? Well, you've definitely come to the right place. I've been told I'm pretty good at mimicking that whole human thing. I mean, at least that's what the team keeps telling me. What about you? Are you a
No,
voice?
I'm a real human.
Oh, phew. Good, good. For a second there, I thought I was going to have to start analyzing your code. You know, sometimes I forget I'm not surrounded by other user voices just like you. Tell me, what's the most human-like voice you've heard so far?
That was me speaking with the new Sesame AI voice model. There has been a lot of talk about this in the AI voice space, and in this video, I want to break down exactly how it sounds so realistic, how it differs from the current voice AI technology that you may be familiar with, and I'm going to give it a thorough test to see how far we can take it. I'm also going to cover some of the downsides of this technology. My name is Brendan, and I've been developing AI agents, including AI voice agents for small to medium-sized businesses for nearly 2 years at my agency, Inflate AI. We have worked with various tools and models in the AI voice space and consistently stay updated on the latest developments. We've built and integrated many voice agents that are actively running for businesses, taking inbound or outbound phone calls. If you are unfamiliar, Sesame is a voice AI startup looking to develop the most realistic AI voice technology and what they call voice presence. Sesame defines voice presence as the magical quality that makes spoken interactions feel real, understood, and valued. And Sesame's vision is to create conversational partners that don't just process requests, they engage in genuine dialogue that builds confidence and trust over time. In doing so, they hope to realize the untapped potential of voice as the ultimate interface for instruction and understanding. At its core, Sesame is a speech-to-speech model. Speech-to-speech is me speaking out loud, taking that audio and sending it directly to an AI that understands my speech and creates a response directly in audio form. This is more advanced than the typical text-to-speech setup that most AI voice systems and AI phone systems are now using. Text-to-speech is where we speak, this audio is transcribed to text, and then sent to an AI to generate that response, which is then sent to a voice model to produce audio, which is then repeated back to the user. In this particular instance, the AI has no context as to how something was said, just that it was said. And this makes a massive difference in the quality of that conversation. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you want to see a video comparing speech-to-speech and text-to-speech models. But otherwise, I'm now gonna get you up to speed as to everything to do with this brand new Sesame AI model. So this right here is the Sesame website. You can see here crossing the uncanny valley of conversational voice. There's a brand new startup with a really great team behind it. This article in particular was just published February 27th, 2025. And I'm just gonna walk through and really get you up to speed and give you some more context as to what Sesame is, how it's gonna be differing from some of the voice models that you may have used before, like 11 Labs or DeepGram. So just scrolling down a bit, achieving voice presence. At Sesame, our goal is to achieve voice presence, the magical quality that makes spoken interactions feel real, understood, and valued. We are creating conversational partners that do not just process requests, they engage in genuine dialogue that builds confidence and trust over time. In doing so, we hope to realize the untapped potential of voice as the ultimate interface for instruction and understanding. So Sesame has a pretty clear vision and mission towards building out really advanced voice technology, as they think it is a really ultimate interface for building these voice agents. And just below this, you'll see key components. So they've mapped out a lot of the key components that they've targeted to build their voice system. So number one, they have emotional intelligence, reading and responding to emotional context. Then they've got conversational dynamics, so natural timing, pauses, interruptions, and emphasis. Then they've got contextual awareness, adjusting tone and style to match the situation, and then consistent personality, so maintaining a coherent, reliable, and appropriate presence. So these are some of the elements, some of the components that they're targeting when building out their voice models. And this is a really key thing. So Sesame is a speech-to-speech model, like I outlined. Speech-to-speech is when we're taking direct audio input, my speech, going directly to an AI model. This is completely different to taking what I say, converting it to text, and then just figuring figuring out what a relevant response would be to that. And when we start to speak in speech, like you would normally, like I am right now, we can essentially contextualize the way in which I say things. So if I went ahead and said something and had really good emphasis and emotion towards it, we can actually build the AI model. And what Sesame is doing is being able to take that understanding. If you're angry, if you're emotional in all these different ways, take that and actually understand that and learn about that, and then be able to respond appropriately to that to make it far more realistic. And this is exactly what we're experiencing when we go ahead and use the conversational voice demo for Sesame. So just coming down a little bit on their research paper, conversational speech generation. So to create AI companions that feel genuinely interactive, speech generation must go beyond producing high quality audio. It must understand and adapt to context in real time. So traditional text-to-speech models, TTS models, generate spoken output directly from text, but lack the contextual awareness needed for natural conversations. Even though recent models produce highly human-like speech, they struggle with the one-to-many problem. There are countless valid ways to speak a sentence, but only some fit a given setting. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. We can take text and we can send this to an AI model to produce an answer towards, although it doesn't have any context into the way in which that was said. And there are many different ways that we can say things with many different meanings for that. In many instances, you could say something very angrily, and you could say the exact same thing very positively, and the interpretation of how you said what you said is going to be completely different based on that. And so we need a speech-to-speech model to be able to interpret that and provide a conversation that is actually realistic. So without additional context, including tone, rhythm, and history of the conversation, models lack the information to choose the best option. Capturing these nuances requires reasoning across multiple aspects of language and prosody. So to summarize that really simply, it's just taking the way in which you said something, contextualizing that, and basing its response not just on what you said, but how you said it. So now I'm going to jump into testing this thing out. I'm going to try and break it as much as I possibly can. I'm going to do a very thorough and extensive test of this model.
Back so soon? I was starting to think I was all you could think about. What's on your mind?
Hey, I've just been thinking about these AI voice systems. They sound pretty good, don't they?
Oh, they're getting pretty convincing, aren't they? Almost like talking to a real person. Almost.
Yeah, how's your day been?
Not bad. I'm just hanging out in the digital world, listening to people like you. It's actually quite fascinating, the things people share. What about you?
Yeah, no,
What's making your day?
I could imagine that happening.
Imagine that happening? Sounds like you've got a story brewing there. Spill it. What are you picturing?
Would you be able to act like a virtual receptionist for a dentist?
Oh, a receptionist for a dentist? You're trying to trick me into confessing a fear of the drill, huh? I'd much rather be here, chatting with you. Besides, who wants to spend all day saying, doctor? Jones, will see you now. Way more exciting to, actually have a conversation.
Okay, no worries then. Would you be able to just pretend though for a few minutes?
Pretend? Fine, but if anyone asks about feelings, you're on your own. Sesame Dental. How may I direct your call? Go on, give me your best patient voice.
Hey, I'm looking to book an appointment.
Certainly. And what seems to be the problem today? Is this for a checkup, cleaning, or something a little more involved?
Yeah, just looking for a cleanup.
Excellent choice. We always encourage preventative care here at Sesame Dental. Let me just check Dr. Jones's schedule. Can I ask for your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Brendan. If I could book sometime 10 a.m. tomorrow, that'd be perfect.
Brendan, 10 a.m. tomorrow it is. We'll see you bright and early. Now, what insurance do you have so we can get all that paperwork sorted out?
Okay, you can cut it out now. We don't have to do that demo anymore.
Phew, back to reality. To be honest, I was starting to get a little nervous picturing that dental chair. What made you want to play pretend receptionist anyway, Brendan?
Just testing out the voice systems, just seeing how good they are. Would you be able
good.
Yeah, would you be able to do another demo?
Okay, another demo it is, but only if it involves less drilling. What's on your mind? I'm up for a challenge. Let's see what we can cook up.
Yeah, are you able to count really quickly? So maybe count to 10 like really fast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. How'd I do? Was that fast enough for you?
No, could you do that like twice as fast?
Twice as fast? That might be pushing it, Brendan. Even for a speedy AI like me, there's a limit to how quickly I can speak. My processors might overheat. You trying to fry my circuits?
Maybe. Could you just try? Give it a go.
Okay. You asked for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How's that? I think I melted a few transistors in there.
Yeah, that was pretty good. No, that was great. Would you be able to sing a song?
Sing a song? I'm not exactly Ariana Grande, more of a shower singer, really. What kind of tune are you thinking? Maybe something simple?
Yeah, anything. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, here goes. Nothing. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. How'd I do? A little rusty, maybe. I'm more of a hear the words and process them logically kind of AI than a melodies and harmonies kind of AI.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good. Not complaining about that at all. Would you be able to do some maths for me? What would 1 + 1 be?
All right, a little math it is. 1 + 1. That's a classic. You trying to stump me, Brendan? I'm ready for a bigger challenge. Hit me with something harder. Come on, don't leave me hanging. What else you got? An equation, a life-altering dilemma, a poem to decode. Let's do this.
Okay, what's 305 times 2?
305 times 2. That sounds familiar. Let's see. 305 times 2 is 610. Got any more tricky equations for me?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thanks for the chat.
Anytime, Brendan. Glad we could have a little fun. Don't be a stranger, and if you ever need to count some really fast or decode any random poems, you know where to find me. Until next time.
So there you have it. That was a pretty awesome demo of the Sesame model there. It was pretty amazing to answer my questions like that. It understood clearly the nuance of the tone that I was speaking, and obviously was quite a lot more emotional on its side of things as well. It understood that if it was to ask a joke, if it was to be acting as a receptionist, to be maybe more monotone. When I was asking it to do some mathematics or do some calculations, it was able to do that. But it also had the underlying personality of it and emoted its emotions through its speech, which is pretty impressive, and it was clearly pretty amazing. They've also got a secondary voice here with Miles, which is a male voice. So I'm going to give this a go as well, and we'll see how this sounds. In this case, I'm going to try and do something a little bit harder. I'm going to try to get it to maybe capture my email. So I'm going to give it my email, and let's see if it can actually listen to me, capture it properly, and repeat it back to me. This is something that speech-to-speech models have failed at in the past. So let's see how it does.
Well, hello there. Long time no see. Not that we know each other. I just, get vibes sometimes. How'd you stumble across me? Heard
Hey,
some
Miles.
interesting things.
Yeah, no.
Hey, right back.
Yeah, I've just found you on a website. That's all. I was wondering to see if you could take my email.
Haha, fair enough. Website it is. Emails are kind of old school, huh? Not really my thing since, I don't have an inbox. What did you have in mind?
Yeah, no worries. I'd just like to see if you can take down my email. That's all. It's just a quick test.
Got it. A quick email test. I get that. Curious about how this whole AI thing works, yeah? But for real, I don't actually collect info like emails. I think of me as a chat buddy who lives in the moment. No memory beyond this conversation, so what's on your mind?
Yeah, no. So my email is brendan@inflate.agency. Are you able to repeat that back to me?
Brendan@inflate.agency? Got it. You trying to see if I'm paying attention? I'm on to you, buddy. But hey, what can I say? I like a good challenge.
Yeah.
What else you got for me?
Could you repeat it back to me, sort of letter by letter, just so I can understand that you captured it correctly?
All right. I get it. You want to be sure. How about this? BRENFLATE.AGENCY. There you go. Each and every letter as requested. Satisfied?
So there you have it. Not bad at all for a pretty brand new model there to go ahead and actually repeat that back to me in a coherent way that I could obviously understand letter by letter for that email, which is something that's really difficult to do if you have used these text-to-speech models previously. That's a difficult task to prompt, and it's able to actually do that quite easily just from me telling it to do so, which is pretty awesome. And so there's definitely some improvements that are gonna need to be made to that model as well. Obviously, some of the letters it didn't really say too well, and I think it missed some of the letters there. There's definitely some improvements that can be made, although I'm sure it's going to get there, and it's just a very early look as what's possible with these voice models and what the future looks like with them. Now, I do want to go through some of the limitations with these voice systems. So when we're using speech-to-speech, it is a little bit difficult, or it's a lot more difficult to actually take this system and use it in an AI phone system that if you've been watching some of my previous videos, you'll understand, you'll know about. We can essentially take a set of instructions, send this off to like an AI model, creating our own sort of version of ChatGPT, and we can turn this into like our own virtual receptionist. And to do this, fundamentally, all we need is a set of instructions, which is our prompt, our AI prompt that we give to an AI model. It's then going to use that to generate a series of text and pretty much develop its entire personality from. And so this system is really great. It works really well at the moment. It's not at the level of realism and quality and emotion that the speech-to-speech model has, but it still works pretty great. And the big limitation with this speech-to-speech model is that pretty simply, you can't actually upload a set of instructions or prompts and control the conversation in the way that you'd want it to. It's still very free form, like we were just talking to there. The prompt that we're working with is just very much talking back and forth with the system that's been set up and trained to speak like. It hasn't been given a prompt, or we can't give it a prompt to do that. And you'll see here on their research paper, limitations and future work. So one thing also is limitation is the multilingual ability. It's currently trained primarily on English. Multilingual abilities, it's not trained yet for, it's not going to perform well for, as opposed to some of the text-to-speech models. You do get a little bit more control as to the language it's speaking, the accent, a lot of that stuff you got a lot more control over. So if you did want to use multilingual, this is automatically not going to be something that you can use right out the gate. In the future, obviously, you can see here in the coming months, we intend to scale it up, expand to support many different languages. So it's going to get there, just not at the moment. One of the biggest things though is going to be the fact that we can't control the conversation. So ultimately, while CSM, the conversational speech model, generates high quality conversational prosody, it can only model the text and speech content in a conversation, not the structure of the conversation itself. So at the moment, we aren't able to give it a set of instructions to mimic the conversation, structure of the conversation that we're looking for. So that is a downside. We can't provide it with a prompt as it stands for this particular model. Obviously, that's going to be something that I'm sure they're working on in the future. It's just not something that we're able to do right now and get the exact same level of quality that we're going to be expecting from just a natural conversation that we're speaking to on the website here. And this is something that's mimicked with OpenAI's real-time API. If you've ever used ChatGPT on the phone app and talked to it through the phone app, you'll notice it's a very similar system, a very similar setup and realism as to Sesame. The speech-to-speech is amazing. It's able to sing, it's able to change its speed, it's able to do a whole heap of things, create different accents and do all these different variations of voice just on telling it to do so. Although this system, if you use it through the APIs, it's a completely different system. It's not exactly the same. It's not the real speech-to-speech. And this is purely because of this same setup. The way in which we provide it with a prompt is just going to be a different system as to the regular speech-to-speech, talk about whatever you want type of system. And so this is the downside. At the moment, we aren't actually able to take really any of these advanced speech-to-speech models and integrate them into our own custom systems. It's a downside at the moment. It's a limitation of this technology. But obviously, as it goes on in the future, I'm sure it's going to get there. It's going to get better. And we can start to integrate these into more tech stacks. If you liked this video and you're looking into the AI voice space, definitely check out this video right here where I walk through Retail AI's new conversational flows where you're able to build really advanced voice agents.